Hey, I'm Rob Adler, and welcome to Understanding Upstate. It's the podcast dedicated to exploring what makes upstate New York such a unique place. Each week, my co-host Jim Search and I dive into a new upstate topic to better understand what's up upstate. And today, we're headed back to Binghamton to talk about the one and only Roberson Museum.
Hell yeah. Now we're talking some bingo business, baby.
Hey, speaking of heading back to Binghamton, I believe you're going to be doing that pretty soon. This episode is going to come out on Friday the 22nd.
Yes.
It's our 23rd episode, and on March 23rd, you're going to be doing something special in Binghamton, I believe.
Oh,
right?
Holy moly guacamole, Rob. You are absolutely correct. So the 23rd of this month, I will be at Stellar Presents at Stellar Human, 128 Robinson Street in Binghamton, on Binghamton's illustrious east side. It's going to be a dope show. I cannot wait to do it. It's doors are at 6:30. Show starts at 7. Get there early because Stellar Human's a really cool vintage thrift shop. There's some really cool shit in there for you to buy. So come in early, look around, buy some shit, and then at 7 o'clock, comedy ensues. Stephen Brown is going to be hosting. Abdul Adi is going to feature. I'm going to headline. There's going to be some music acts as well. And it's BYOB. So swing by the CVS right down the street from Stellar Human. Tell them I sent you. You'll get nothing off. It'll do nothing for you. But just tell them I sent you just to see how that impacts the cashier. And then buy whatever you're going to buy and then come to the show.
Maybe swing by the Wendy's that's featured in the rewrite, Get
you some food. Yeah, swing by the world famous Wendy's, the landmarked Wendy's as featured in the rewrite, and then go over to the CVS. Tell him I sent you, see how that impacts a person who probably has no idea who I am, and then come over to Stellar Human. Now, I can tell you that you're going to be going from the west side of Binghamton to the east side, and that may sound like, oh my God, this is going to be like a Herculean journey. You'll be able to get this done in under a half hour. I promise you that.
Pretty good. Can you go by the Binghamton Masons Temple?
Can you go to the? Can you swing by the Masonic Temple on the way? Yes, actually, that trip would take you by the Masonic Temple because you're going to be on Main Street, where again the world famous Wendy's, as featured in the rewrite, is located. You're going to shoot down Main Street, pass by the Masonic Temple, right, and then you're going to take that, head right over to Court Street. Pop on over to the east side, baby.
What if I want to hit Rec Park and check out a Rod Serling gazebo?
If you wanted to do that, I mean, you should probably then start your journey there. I feel like that's...
Okay, is that further on the west side?
Yeah, that's deeper onto the west side.
Okay.
Kind of closer to Johnson City. But
okay,
I would say start there. Start at the gazebo. What a journey you're going to go on, by the way.
And what do I have to do to go through the EJ arches?
Oh yeah, well then you're going to go. You're basically going to start on Main Street, right? You're going to be at the arches. So boom, that's probably a better starting marker.
Sure.
Go from the arches over to the Rec Park to the gazebo.
Now, did I walk by Boscov's if I'm on Main Street?
You will. You will.
Okay,
pass
great,
by
great.
Say less, fam. And you'll be in there. You know what I mean?
If you didn't pick up all these references, it means you didn't listen to the other 22 episodes, and you should go back and do that. That's all off the cuff. I'm not doing it. There's no. I mean, Jim's from Binghamton.
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm surprised myself. Pretty pleased.
Yeah. Well, listen. Truth be told, and Rob, we've talked about this countless times about how like your photographic geographic memory is like fucking incredible. So.
It only comes in use as a podcast host.
Well,
every time.
I mean, before the show, we were talking about Roberson, and you have visited Binghamton once and knew exactly
for maybe a hot 2-3 hours.
Yes,
it was a pretty quick turnaround.
I was gonna say you weren't. This was again under 4 hours. You were there. Mm-hmm. You knew exactly where the Roberson Museum was, and I'm like, it doesn't get any better than this. It really doesn't. So, all that to be said, again, March 23rd, March 23rd, Stellar presents over at Stellar Human. You're listening to this podcast. You're in Binghamton. It's Friday. You're like, man, you know what? Plans have changed, baby. We're not going to Little Venice for dinner Saturday night. We're going straight to Stellar Human. We're picking up food from Wendy's, and then we're going to CVS to buy some beer. Then we're going over. That's the best date night. Come on, man.
There we go.
You're going to sweep this lady.
And look, if you're from out of town and you go to Jim's show and you happen to get lost, just reach out to us. It'll be me at Understanding Upstate on Instagram. Throw us an email. We haven't thrown the email out there.
Yeah.
understandingupstate@gmail.com, and I'll give you directions. Just just let me know your intersection, and I'll get you to Stellar Human.
You're like a GPS dispatch.
Yeah.
That's really funny, man.
I'll be standing by on Saturday, guys. Just let me know.
Yeah. Listen, it's going to be a perfect date night. You're going to sweep her off her feet. Tell you that. Wendy's, beer from CVS, comedy show. Listen, she's yours. That's putty in your hands, fellas.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Well, you know what's going to be putty in our hands? The topic of Roberson Museum, because we got a lot to talk about, and like we were talking off mic, again, this is an institution that anyone that's grown up in Binghamton is going to be familiar with.
100%, man. Like, this really is it's a rite of passage, right? It's a rite of passage as a Binghamton citizen to pass through the Roberson Museum, be it a field trip, be it mom and dad are like, all right, you got to get the fuck out of here. We're dropping you off at Roberson. And that's that, right? So like it really is, and it holds a lot of memories. At least for me, I can definitely speak to that. Just as a kid, because I grew up not too far from Roberson, and to ride by there, to be in there, and just the stories that have come from it. Like for example. In preparation for this podcast, I did a deep dive into the world of Alonzo Roberson, who is the man who created the Roberson Museum. And, before I talk about the research, let me get into a little bit of how the stories around this place of it being haunted, right?
Well, we got to get our little audio transition in here.
Sure.
Let's talk about it.
Sure. Let's be about it. Let's talk about it and be about it. The Roberson Museum and Science Center, which is located on the west side of Binghamton, which is, in fact, the best side of Binghamton, New York. You can ask anybody in Binghamton. Doesn't matter. East side, north side, first ward. They're going to tell you the west side is the best side of Binghamton. And that is where the Roberson Museum and Science Center is located. The museum's exhibits focus on art, local history, science, and natural history. And they also have some really great pop-up exhibits as well. They used to do one about the Twilight Zone. That was a pretty big one that they would have on occasion. Definitely worth checking out when they have it. The museum was built, as I was saying earlier, by Alonzo Roberson Jr., and, a little background of the Roberson family. Okay, so there's Alonzo Sr., okay? He was a carpenter who purchased the Marsh and Gilbert Lumber Company in the late 1860s and then renamed it the Alonzo Roberson Company. And it was his business foresight that built the nest egg and strong financial foundation for him, his wife, and son, Alonzo Jr., to not only build a better life for themselves, but for those around him. So with some modern day slang, if you will, Alonzo Jr. was born on third base. He wasn't getting it out of the mud, as they say.
Yeah.
He was doing all right.
What you're saying is he was born with a silver Speedy in his mouth.
100%, Rob. He was born with a silver Speedy in his mouth, wanted for nothing, right? But that's not to say, though, that that his life was a pure cakewalk, because there was there were some points that were kind of shitty for him, which we'll talk a little bit about. But, in terms of, he wasn't worrying about money. Okay.
Yeah. And the lumber industry was like pretty big in that region, right? Like, it's like why you have the town called Deposit, right? Like, I remember reading a while back that it's called Deposit because the river runs by there, and that's where they would float all the lumber down to be deposited.
Yes. Well, listen, you're bringing constant gems here, and 607 gems is what I live for. Now, to your point, Rob, the lumber industry was very huge in the Triple Cities in upstate New York, so much so that the Alonzo Roberson Company, which I think by the turn of the century was one of, if not the biggest lumber businesses in Binghamton and the surrounding area.
Nice.
So, and in addition to that as well, pretty much this was the place to get lumber on the Eastern Seaboard, which is crazy to think about, that like all of the lumber that was on the East Coast flowed through Alonzo Roberson Company.
Wow.
Safe to say they got a pretty big cut. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
There you go.
So, then we'll jump back into the story here. Now, after Alonzo Sr. has built this company and built the foundation, Alonzo grows up and then meets his soon-to-be wife, Margaret Hayes, who's a Binghamton school teacher. Shout out to all the Binghamton school teachers out there. Moved, so they met, and then they moved in to the prestigious Front Street Riverside Drive area of Binghamton. And that is where the Roberson Museum stands today. So the Roberson Mansion, which is the front of the museum, and then you kind of go downhill, and then there's like the main part of the museum. But they lived in the front. And
it's like on the bank of the Susquehanna?
Yes. The Susquehanna River is right where the museum is. Exactly. It's banked right there. Now, Alonzo and Margaret, very quiet people who made countless amounts of anonymous donations to local charities to ensure the financial stability of their workers. So this gives me real work, like take care of the worker vibe, which we've seen throughout all the companies that we've talked about on the podcast. But this one feels like it comes from a better place, because the other ones really seemed pretty self-serving. But this was like, we really do care about the people that work for us. Now, Alonzo kept all the workers employed and assisted them financially, and found housing for the staff that didn't live with them. So he was putting up the folks that worked for him, which is pretty freaking rad. Now, by the time Alonzo Jr. had passed, he had not only become the president of the Roberson and Son Lumber Company, but was also a chairman of the board for the Marine Midland Bank. So he's moving and shaking.
He's doing okay.
Again, he's crushing it on the financial tip. Now, they never had kids, Alonzo and Margaret. And so because of that, they wanted to leave a legacy. And they also had a real soft spot for education in children. In so much that Margaret, being a school teacher, you know, a lot of her life was dedicated to children. And because of her love for education, Alonzo left in his will a clause to provide an education center in their Front Street home. So the home was then going to turn into that, right? And in addition to that, and this is something that's, you know, of note, is this was to be accessible to all. Everyone was allowed to come to this. And if you think about the timeline of this, not a lot of things were accessible to everyone. Hint, racism. So this was a real step in the right direction. So in 1954, the same year that Margaret passes away, the Roberson Center opens its doors. Okay. Now, since 1954, the Roberson Museum has gained national recognition as a museum for study and interpretation of history, art, and science, and in 1973 became one of the first museums to be accredited by the National Alliance, or the American Alliance of Museums.
Not the National Alliance of Museums. Those bastards.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them and everything they stand for, right? Now, as I was saying a little bit before about the exhibitions that are at the Roberson Museum, there's a couple of permanent ones that are there to this day. And in fact, I want to say last summer, maybe, or it was 2 years ago, I went back there, and I love the Roberson Museum. And I can tell you right now, it has not changed since I was a young James Search.
I think that's like, I was just at the Museum of Natural History a couple, maybe like 2 weeks ago, a week or two ago, for the first time in like a decade.
Yeah.
Not much has changed.
Nope. Non-interest, you know, and I don't know if that's by choice or by force. Because, you know, believe it or not, at the risk of getting on a soapbox here, we really love to fund everything else but museums and parks. A lot of other things that deserve our attention, and by that,
Jim, we need more robots on the subway. Come on,
we need more robots, and we need more military arms to go overseas.
Oh, that goes without saying.
Right, billions, because there's wars to be fought, and that is how we make money. So, back to our regularly scheduled program. Here are some of the exhibits, the permanent exhibits that exist at the Roberson Museum. The Roberson family history, which showcases some of the unique items from the Robersons, and often
you can see the silver Speedy.
Yeah, you can see the silver Speedy that Alonzo Jr. was born with. That's a real nice hallmark piece. But it offers insights to the lives of the family, the mansion, as well as the A. Roberson and Son Lumber Company. Now, I'm going to butcher the absolute name of this, and I apologize to all of the Native Americans and indigenous folks out there, but the Haudenosaunee, we're going to go with that. The Haudenosaunee people of the Longhouse tells a story of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, their impact on the region prior to colonialism, and their continued stewardship today through arts, objects, and interactive displays. There is a very cool, and I remember this is, you're going to get like, I got caught up with this because I stood in this exhibit for a long time last time I was there. There's a model train layout. Okay.
I saw pictures of this. I saw pictures of this. I was blown away.
At the risk of being Bobby Bacalao and his love of railroad, of model trains, that's a real deep cut from my Soprano heads out there.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think you can visit one of those model train shops. It's in Brooklyn. We can swing by.
We'll pull up. We'll pull up and see Bobby's favorite spot to hang. Now, at the risk of Bobby Bacalao out here, this is a very cool model train layout because it depicts the 50s, which again, not the best time in history, but however, in terms of like the intricacy of all of it, it's pretty cool. It's got a layout of the landscapes going through Binghamton, Johnson City, Owego, Endicott, and then parts of northern Pennsylvania. Now, it's an honest to God layout. Like Main Street runs all the way through Binghamton, Johnson City, and Endicott. You can take that street all the way down and cut through 3 cities. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it goes into Owego as well. But fact is, this whole model train layout is that. And cool. It's really fucking cool. And again, I will be the last person on earth to be like, that model train layout is really cool. But here we are, right? Now, there's a nature track exhibit as well. Over 150 mounted specimens on display in representations of the region's deciduous and transitional.
This, oh my God, I cut you off at deciduous. I'm so sorry.
No,
keep going.
That's all right. I mean, deciduous trees, I get it. All right. Rob, I understand the fervor and intent here.
I was going to say this. I saw pictures of this as well, and this was, I think, the most confusing thing to look at without context, because I just saw like a tree in the middle of a room with a walkway that was maybe 8 feet away from the tree in the middle of the room, and I was like, that is a very odd thing to have indoors. But also, I want to see this. This looks weird.
Well, Rob, if that's a real long, roundabout way of saying that you're going to come to Binghamton for the Stellar Understanding Stellar Presents show, and then we go to the museum before that. That's fine. I'm totally with that, dude. Say less. Let's pack up the car. Tell everybody we're going to Roberson before the show. Finally, we also have the Legacy of Link, which celebrates Edwin Albert Link, pioneer of aviation, underwater archaeology, and submersibles. And, he was truly a pioneer in the world of aviation. We talked about him in an episode past on our mix-up, and an incredible dude.
Invented the flight simulator.
Yes.
Right?
He is a true pioneer in the world of aviation. And when you go to the Roberson Museum, because I know as soon as you listen to this, you're getting your ass over to the Roberson Museum and you're fucking with all these permanent exhibitions. And I don't know if there's ever been anyone who's talked more passionately about a museum before. But if Roberson, you need somebody to really pump the crowd up.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Before you go on a walking tour. I'm your guy. If you need a warm-up guy, like, you guys ready for an exhibit? Come on, put your fucking hands together. Start clapping. Go. Start fucking clapping. I'm the guy to do that. Okay.
Jim, there's 2 things on our sheet here that I just I'm gonna need some more information on. Whether we do a future episode on it or whether you have some of that information. I'm open to either, but you have written here that he was a pioneer in underwater archaeology and submersibles as well. Underwater archaeology? Do you know anything about, like, he's from Binghamton. There's no underwater archaeology to be done in Binghamton as far as I know, but maybe I need to go to the Roberson.
I was going to say, you're really talking yourself up here to get over to the Roberson Museum. But what I can say, and this would be somewhat of a shot from the hip here, is that, while being in Binghamton, I don't know if his work was necessarily tethered exclusively to Binghamton. Mm-hmm. And I would have to think that with his inventions and the advents in technology that he created, was able to take what he has done outside of the world of Binghamton into a world where underwater archaeology would be useful. Because yes, the Shenango River and the Susquehanna River, I could get underwater there. I've swam in both rivers respectively, as a younger James Jam. Now, on to what I would say is probably the most scintillating piece
Oh
of
my
the
God.
Roberson Museum.
I mean, we talked about model trains.
Yeah, no,
It's going to be hard
listen,
to beat that in terms of scintillating.
listen, only for Bobby Bacalao. That's the only person who I feel like peaked at the model train layout. And he's like, I don't need to hear anything else. We're assuming that he
It's
lived.
true. Also,
Uh,
me at like 6 years old. It was about model trains.
Yeah, it wasn't getting better than that. Wasn't getting better than that. Now, okay, so legend has it that the spirit of Alonzo still roams the halls of the Roberson Mansion.
Hmm.
Now, I will say this as someone who grew up in Binghamton, this is true. This is a very true legend. You know, we've all heard the stories. We all know it to be it's fact. It's an urban legend that is a fact, and it can be. You talk to anybody in the streets of Binghamton, and they say that museum is haunted with the spirit of Alonzo Jr.
Some say he's still searching for his silver Speedy to this very
Hey,
day.
now I, in preparation for this podcast,
Mhm.
I did some research and some deep dives and found a documentary on PBS titled Alonzo's Ghost. I had to sign, and this is how dedicated I was to this. Okay, I found the documentary and I was like, "Oh shit, this is fucking great! We're going to talk all about Binghamton for an hour. Let's go." So I went to click on it, and they were like, "Hey, can you make a $5 donation to PBS?" And after much hand wringing and gnashing of teeth, I said, "You know what? This is worth $5. Let's go.
There you go.
I want
There
it.
you go.
I want it." You could donate more than $5. I just want to make that clear.
Sure.
However, the minimum was $5. I tried to see if you could donate $1, but they were like, "Come on, Jim, come on."
Speaking of museums, it's like when I went to the Met and just blew past ticketing, and the security guard is like, "You got to pay something, buddy." Sent me back to the front desk. Yes, yes.
I'm like, "Oh, I do."
And then I did pay, I think, $1. This was like 10 years ago. I would probably do $5 today. But.
All right, that's a stand up. That's a stand up thing to do, man. And I will say very quickly that for Brooklyn residents, or at least of the same zip code of Brooklyn Museum and Botanic Gardens, free if you can show that you're in the same zip code. So anyway, so back to Alonzo's Ghost. All right, is where a lot of the information we gave you about the backstory of the Roberson family came from. Was from this documentary, but what they also got into at the end was the ghost of Alonzo Roberson Jr. Now, it's not a ghost in the sense of unfinished business, right? Like, this isn't like I'm haunting this place because they have like wronged me or whatever. And you'll see in these stories that it's like he was such a very welcoming man and really loved the museum and loved what it stood for, and still walks the halls because of the love of the museum. It's wild. Now, I will say this, because two things can exist at the same time. Sure. He loved that museum, but when it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go.
Sure.
He's ready for you to leave. And I say that when we get into, I have a couple ghost stories. Rob, are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm very ready.
Okay. I wish there was spooky music.
I'm gonna dim the lights over here. Get my flashlight out and shine it under my face.
Listen, I don't want you to get too scared here. Please don't. It's gonna get too intense. So maybe just keep like. Do one of the two things: either dim the light or put the flashlight in it. But don't do both. Don't do both. That's going to get crazy. I don't want that for you. All right. So here's the first story. Right. This first story goes that there's an employee who was working late by themselves. They heard the last person leave the elevator from the third floor. So this now puts this person by themselves in the museum. Okay. After an hour goes by or so, this employee decides it's time for her to go home. As soon as she packs up her things, she hears the elevator ding, and it is back up on the third floor. There's no way that elevator is coming up there on its own.
There's also no way I'm getting in that elevator. Whether it's a ghost or an electrical problem, I am not getting in.
There's no thank you. As we were watching this, my lady was like, nope, not doing this.
Yeah, dude.
No way. So, again, Alonzo loved the museum, but when it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. So when this lady was like, maybe I should go, he's like, yeah, you should. And I will summon the elevator for you. All right. So I got 3 more stories for you. Okay. Another story goes, there is an employee, same employee was working late, shutting off the lights and sees a shadow, just like out of the corner of the eye type business. When she looked, nobody's there. And as she was shutting it down, she kept just feeling a presence behind her. And when she would look to catch the glimpse of the shadow, gone. And as soon as she got to the door to leave, couldn't see anything. I believe all of this to be true.
Pretty spooky.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. Now, this I think I'm going to switch the order of this, because this one I was about to get into is the wildest one. But I'm going to give you this one because this one's pretty good. So this one takes place during the holiday season. All right, deck the halls and all that. Now, the name of the event at Roberson is called Home for the Holidays. Holiday lights are strung around the museum, and it's mirth and merriment and all that, right?
In the notes, I thought it said meth and merriment, and I had to take a second.
Which I feel like, if you, as an aside, as someone who's never smoked meth but lived enough life to know that the impacts, I feel like you probably only get about 2 or 3 good merriment times on meth.
Yeah.
And then the rest, it's probably not good. You know what I mean? Like, you're just doing that because you have
limited merriment.
Right. It's diminishing returns on merriment, right? So, off the second floor, Michael Grasso and his family were preparing the Harry Potter room. All right. Now, this is well after closing. Okay, so ain't nobody else in there. All the people that were in the museum were in this room. Okay, so nobody else there. Now, as they're wrapping up, they're getting ready to leave, they hear a come from the ground floor.
No, thank you.
What? I'm sorry? Who the fuck is this? Now, they all kind of looked around at each other and were like, did everybody hear that? Like, did you guys hear that? And sure, there had to have been someone else in there.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
And by that, our good friend Alonzo Jr. Now, last story. This one is crazy. Okay.
I'm ready.
Get ready. I'm glad you're sitting. Okay. So this one involves a family taking a tour of the museum. All right. So it's a husband, wife, and a young girl. And the young girl is like laughing and giggling throughout the whole exhibit. Okay. Finally, when the family sees a picture on the wall, she like stops giggling and she goes, there he is. That's the man who was making silly faces at me, making me laugh. And it was a picture of Alonzo Roberson Jr.
Nope.
Yo,
no.
What?
No,
what is going on here? But look, man, here's the thing is that, like I said, he's not terrorizing, right? Sure. He's not like throwing blood on the wall and making this place less than hospitable.
Not yet.
Not yet. I think that's when people stop when they don't give the suggested donation.
Yeah.
That's when I think
he haunts you for life.
Yeah. Alonzo makes a real heel turn and becomes the demon that he wants to be. I will say this though. So I went through the Yelp or the Google reviews
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
of the museum because I'm like, all right, who out here is really going to give this museum 1 star? Like, who's got it in their heart to be like, you know what, fuck that place. Well, that person exists, Rob. That
Oh,
person,
I'm certain.
it does. She does. Now, I'm going to paraphrase. I'm going to paraphrase the review. And if there's anyone who's going to be haunted by Alonzo Roberson Jr., leave 1 star, leave 1 star, and then
Yeah.
see what happens in the middle of the night when he starts knocking on your door, terrorizing you. Right. So this lady leaves a review, and it's like, I went to like the summer event at the Roberson Museum, and they did a raffle giveaway. I bought $20 worth of tickets and I won a $50 gift card to Social Unstate, which is a bar in downtown Binghamton. And she goes on to write, I was told I would receive a virtual card. I then waited a week. I didn't receive anything. I called the museum. Nobody picked up. I left a voicemail. Then she says, it's pretty sad that this is how you have to raise money for your museum. You are all very, very sad people. And I was like, damn, lady, you could have just went down there in person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
As you said, it's not a far walk. It's not
no,
bad. She could have done it in under 30.
yeah, she could absolutely. And to really bring this story home, I looked at the name of the woman who left this review, and it's a former friend of mine's mother.
Delightful.
Yeah. And then I saw who it was. I'm like, oh yeah, well I see she hasn't changed.
There you go.
You know what?
Just like the Roberson Museum, neither has your friend's mother.
Neither has my former friend's mother, who was pretty awful to all of us. And now add the Roberson Museum to that list. God damn. That is what I got. That is what I got.
I got some questions.
Yeah, you got questions, and I hope I got answers for you.
And this is a nice little transition. Speaking about how it's haunted, I've also heard that the Bundy is haunted. The Bundy Museum, another museum we've talked about. I think we talked about it the most in our Rod Serling episode.
Right.
But I've also learned there's another mansion/museum that I hadn't heard about before called the Phelps Mansion.
Yes.
Which of the three do you think is the most haunted in Binghamton?
Is the most haunted?
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say the Roberson, man.
All right, Roberson takes it.
Yeah. And I only say that because, like, I've heard, like, the whisperings of Phelps and Bundy being haunted, but it's the Roberson that, like, we all just indelibly knew growing up. It's like, that is a haunted.
Alonzo's putting in some legwork to really
listen,
get his ghost name out there.
To get his ghost cred in the streets. So yeah, I gotta go with Roberson.
Okay. And the other thing, like, this actually ties into the story around the holidays. I don't know if they do this every year or they just did it 1 year or a couple of years, but around the holidays, at least in 2015, maybe other years, they like decorated 200 Christmas trees throughout the museum. Jim, that's a goddamn forest. It's a veritable forest. Is that something you've seen before? I'm just curious if there's a one-time thing or if they're always putting in a whole forest worth of Christmas trees in there.
Now, I haven't seen that full display. I have been there for the holidays.
Got it.
I would offer the size of said trees. And the authenticity of those, because I do wonder if they were 200 like.
I mean, yeah,
were they real? They were real ass trees.
Yeah, I think it's real trees, and the more I think about it, the historical history of the Roberson fortune being from lumber. I think that might be one of the connections there.
I would have to. I can't say I've seen it firsthand.
Okay.
But I believe you.
I would say from the pictures, it's like New York City apartment sized trees. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not like it's not a suburban, big ass tree. It's like nice sized, fits in the corner. It's not going to take up too much room. You can still see your TV. That kind of size Christmas tree.
I guess that's the mental imagery I had.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, there's no way this could be like the
but
the Rockefeller.
It's still 200 trees. Of those, Jim. It's so much. That's so many lights.
That's
many lights.
That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of that's a lot of electricity flowing through the old robe.
That's electricity flowing through the robe.
Mm-hmm.
That's
you heard it here first.
There you go.
That's right, baby.
Go. Well, you've heard that here first, but this is going to be the last time you're going to hear us plug your upcoming show, because if you're listening to this the day it drops or the day after it drops, the show is on the 23rd, Saturday. If you're listening to it after the fact, you fucked up and you missed the show.
Right. And you don't want to be in that category, right?
It's
you
true.
don't want to be in that lane.
It's true.
So yeah, once again, Stellar presents over at Stellar Human, 128 Robinson Street, Binghamton, New York, Binghamton to East Side. Doors are at 6:30. Show is at 7. It's going to be a really dope night. We've got Stephen Brown hosting. Abdul Adi is going to feature. I am going to headline the show. There's going to be some musical acts as well. BYOB, bring your own booze, obviously. Show up at 6:30. Pull up. Take a look around the store. There's some really great pieces, really great vintage items, some thrift shop stuff. My album is for sale in Stellar Human. I'll also have more copies. I'm bringing some copies up with me to buy the album. Also, some merch will be there as well. Shout out to Rob Adler for doing the production on that album. And you've heard Rob Adler throughout this whole podcast.
Oh my God, really? Wow.
Yeah, they better fucking listen to you.
Skip, fast forward through my parts.
Nope, not at all. You're very important to the show, sir. Don't you dare.
It's all right. I'm going to edit myself out. It's just going to be you.
I won't allow that. I'm not here for that. That's the show. Come through, bring a friend, bring someone, maybe bring an enemy or bring someone who is a frenemy on the line. You're not really sure about that. And then the show will either unite you or split you. We're going to see what happens there. So that's that.
That's that. But what is that topic going to be for next week, Jim?
Well, Rob, I'll tell you what it is. We are going to be rounded out March, but there's going to be a March of our own that we need to talk about that happened in Binghamton.
Nice riddle.
Yeah.
Real good. I like it.
I gotta get paid for these words, man. I'm tired of punching a clock, baby.
Hey, on that note, if you subscribe, rate, or review the show, or do all three of those things, that helps us out a lot. Also, if you want to throw us $5, I mean, we set our email address up top. That's cool. We'll take that. Help me buy some more bottles of Speedy marinade.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, throw us a rating of 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts, and you can throw in a suggestion for future things that you would like us to talk about, as long as it is in reference to upstate New York. If you're like, I really like Kansas City, we're not going to talk about Kansas City.
Not at all.
I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. I'm taking a stand against Kansas City right now. It's never going to be on the pod aside from me talking about it this very instant. You can all hold me to it. But again, if you got something upstate, we will talk about it. Jim.
Yes.
We got to talk about how I don't have a way to close out today's episode. I totally forgot. I got a really stupid way to close it out. It's not a great pun or anything, but it's something I've wanted to do since the middle of the episode.
Then I'm not here to slow you down. Let's
All right.
go.
Well, if you're in Binghamton on Saturday, the 23rd, for Jim's show, just watch out for old Alonzo. You might hear him say, "Where's my silver Speedy?" That sounded like the announcer for SNL. That was not a ghost voice. That was and Jim Search. That was that voice.
Don Pardo.
That was a real Don Pardo, not a ghost voice. I'm so sorry. Let's end this episode now.
Understanding Upstate is a podcast hosted by Jim Search and Rob Adler, edited by Rob Adler, and music from Regal Monk.